Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to No Final Bell. I know we are, recording on Tuesday, and Title Tuesday is going to be happening. We will release this on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, as you're watching this, yes, Title Tuesday would have already happened, which it does suck.
Yeah.
But again, hopefully there won't be too many um, surprises here, and if there are, we do apologize that we didn't get this out before that episode was released. But before we get into AEW Dynamite and Collision Talks, we're going to be talking about ROH. Yeah, a little bit of
Yes.
a change.
Yes. So we start off this episode of Ring of Honor on Honor Club with a women's world title defense for Athena. She took on Layla Hirsch, and as to be expected, she retained and then beat her down after the match, as per usual for Athena. But then we get a surprise from Maria Kanellis Bennett, who comes out. She doesn't get in the ring, but she stands at the top of the stage and she's looking right at Layla Hirsch and she's like, "You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet." So then we have the technical beast Josh Woods taking on a local competitor, Alex Payne, beating him. We get Rocky Romero taking on Christopher Daniels in a pretty good match, back and forth between the two. But ultimately, it was Rocky Romero getting the win. This next match kind of shocked me, not just because of who was involved, but also just who ultimately picked up the win. So Scorpio Sky took on Fred Rosser. Now, the name might not sound familiar at first, but go back a few months, like earlier this month, I believe it was, New Japan in, I believe it was California, and that was when Fred Rosser was the New Japan Strong Openweight champion at the time, and then he lost it to Kenta. So, fast forward to October of 2023, he's now in, or at least for this episode, he was in Ring of Honor. I don't know that he's going to start being a prominent. Like, I don't know his contract status, but regardless, he was here for Ring of Honor, took on Scorpio Sky, and lost, actually. Which that's kind of why I was a little shocked, because I'm like, I would have thought that like Fred Rosser coming in as like this fresh new face for Ring of Honor, they might give him the win. But no, they didn't. They gave it to Scorpio Sky. So if you're wondering where Scorpio Sky has been, Ring of Honor. Um, Next up, we had a women's trios match between Willow Nightingale, Kiera Hogan, and Sky Blue. Which, by the way, speaking of Sky Blue, notice that her like eyeshadow and makeup is much darker. She's definitely embracing possibly joining the House of Black, much like Julia Hart did after she got misted in the face by Malachi. She started being not her usual self. And that's very much reminiscent of what we're seeing with Sky Blue right now. So it was apparent in this match, and it was also apparent in um, the match against Tony Storm, which we will get to from Dynamite. But regardless, um, Willow, Kiera Hogan, and Sky Blue took on Lady Frost and the Renegade Twins, Charlotte and Robin. And Willow's team got the win. Then we had Ethan Page, another one that, if you're wondering where he's been, Ring of Honor. He took on a local competitor by the name of Invictus Cash, although he's technically not a local competitor, as commentary brought up that he has showed up on Honor Club a few times. So, unfortunately, though, that's my first time seeing him because the whole thing, is usually I talk about Impact, but this week I was like, why don't I watch Ring of Honor and talk about it? So, it might not be a weekly thing, but we'll see. Either way, Ethan Page beats Invictus Cash. This next match was a bit interesting to see, not only for who was involved, but who won. So TMDK, and it's the traditional tag team of TMDK, not Shane Haste and Bad Dude Tito. It was Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste, formerly TM61, formerly the Mighty, but TMDK stands for the Mighty Don't Kneel. So they took on the infantry and beat them. I was kind of shocked because I would have thought like, oh well, the infantry they're kind of like the unofficial flag bearers of Ring of Honor. I would have thought they would get the win, but no. Um, Same thing for this next match, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense. Next up, we had Tony Nese talking down the Seattle crowd and talking about how, like, oh, they're one of the most obese states in the world. And you know what the cause of that is? Carbohydrates. Everybody keeps eating this. And this is bread. Who loves bread? Everybody goes crazy about bread. He must have forgot who the leader of the bread club is because out came Satoshi Kojima. And he got on the mic, he's like, I love bread. And so that created a match, and Kojima beat Tony Nese. And he got to shove a piece of bread in Tony Nese's mouth. So, thumbs up for that. Next up, we had Minion in training Billy Starks taking on Trish Adora. And surprisingly enough, Billy Starks got the win. More training is in store for that minion, Billy Starks. Athena is the Despicable Me, and Billy Starks is her minion, along with Lexi Nair. They're gonna get all the training, which it's funny too because those segments always show that Lexi Nair is nailing the training, whereas Billy Starks is always like, yeah. And Lexi Nair was talking her down, and she was like, yeah, Billy Starks has horrible cardio, all this stuff. And it's like, meanwhile, Lexi, so the whole thing. But next up, also, like, I'm noticing a trend. A lot of people that you're wondering, like, when you watch AEW, of like, oh, where has this person been? Where has that person been? More than likely, they're in Ring of Honor. So that's the case for both of these competitors, Darius Martin and Lee Johnson. It was a very sportsmanlike contest between the two. They were showing a lot of respect towards each other before, during, and after the match. But ultimately, Darius Martin picked up the win. We had a four corners tag team match consisting of Shane Taylor Promotions, which is Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, taking on the Iron Savages, Boulder and Bronson, the Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry, and Chris Garrison and Cole Carter. And Shane Taylor Promotions just running roughshod on Ring of Honor and also terrorizing continuously. Uh, just just cannot get that man out of his head, and we'll talk about it. Um, then the main event of Ring of Honor was a lucha trios match consisting of Commander, Metalik, and Gravity taking on Angelico, Serpentico, and Gringo Loco. So all the O's. And there certainly were a lot of O's in that match, if you get what I mean. But ultimately, it was Commander's team that got the win. So that is Ring of Honor. Now let's get to some AEW. And
Yeah, and you in watching Dynamite and Collision, you thought maybe this past week was more of the title whatever
yeah,
because there was a lot of titles on
there
the
were a lot
line,
of titles on the line.
and one exact titles were defended twice in 1 week, which I didn't even realize that the World Trios Tag Team titles were defended in the first place until they said,
Yeah,
and still, I was like,
yeah,
wait, what?
yeah,
This is newest to me that these titles were on the
yeah,
line until I saw, oh, okay,
yeah.
maybe I wasn't
Well,
paying attention
the
type
only
of
thing I
thing.
will say about the only clue I can give you is scissor me, daddy ass. So
But
yeah,
yes, the international championship was on the line as Nick
that was the first
Jackson
match.
did win to get a match. And it was a
But what exactly
trio.
did he win?
Well, he won a triple threat match to face off against the international
Is
champion.
that what that was?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or fatal four way? I think it was a
I was
fatal
gonna say
four
I
way
think it was a
match.
fatal four way. It was between him, I think Penta.
It was the week leading up
Oh
into
no, it
Wrestle
was a
Dream.
triple threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
It
triple threat
was
because it was
Claudio
Nick,
Castagnoli.
Claudio,
Yeah,
and Austin Gunn, right? Or
something like that. Again, it was Claudio, Nick
oh, that's
Jackson,
right.
and
Yeah.
um,
Either
I
way,
can't remember
yeah.
who that last guy was, but you can
Either
watch
way,
one
it
of
was
our older
yeah,
videos to find
yeah.
out who it was. But Nick Jackson was the victor and got to face off against Ray Phoenix, who, by the way, was clear to wrestle in that match as he had a injured lower back, which I don't exactly remember when he got injured in that Wrestle Dream fatal four-way tag team match to determine who will face off against. We will say who it is, and by the way, it's not FTR. But in this match, I mean, Ray Phoenix was looking good. He's been a hell of a champion. He's the second ever Triple Crown champion in AEW. Nick Jackson was trying to add to that feat and being the third Triple Crown winner, but fortunately, Nick Jackson did fall short in this match as Ray Phoenix retains the International Championship. Um,
I'm
but
noticing a
he's going to have to
trend.
put it on the
Yeah,
line. I
against Moxley.
yes, against, well,
I'm noticing a trend with the Triple Crown winners. They have all won the
trios
trios,
and a tag team.
tag, and international.
Yeah.
So, because yeah, the first Triple
I
Crown
mean,
wasn't it?
it sucks that Moxley can't be one of them. I
Well,
will
okay,
say that,
actually, that's not true. At least for Ray Phoenix's um, state, it's you know the international, but like the first two titles are the tag team and trios.
mm-hmm,
So, because Kenny Omega was trios, tag team, and world,
yeah,
and then Phoenix is trios, tag team, and international.
right.
So,
So, I mean, Ray Phoenix has done a lot, and it doesn't seem like he's done a lot in AEW, but he really has. I
I was
mean,
gonna say he's been a workhorse in
yeah, he has.
AEW because not only like you wouldn't think to look at Ray Phoenix and be like, oh well, he like his AEW accomplishments don't really, but think about it. The entire time that Ray Phoenix and Penta have both been in AEW, not only has Ray Phoenix been a possible singles champion,
Mm-hmm,
but also like multiple different tag titles throughout uh, Lucha Brothers' time in AEW because they
right.
were, I think they started in AEW as the AAA Tag Team Champions, and like they've held it that entire time
Right.
before they lost it to FTR. But I could be wrong; they might have recaptured. But
Yeah.
either way, and during their time in AEW, technically, they were also the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions.
Yeah.
So, which I'm pretty sure they never lost those, or did they?
I think they
No,
probably.
no, you're right. They did because they lost it to Aussie Open, and then they lost it to MJF and Adam Cole.
Yeah.
That's right. But either way, during their time in AEW, they won both. They were AAA Tag Team Champions, and then they won the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles at Death Before Dishonor.
Right.
So, and then here they are. Here's Ray Phoenix now as the
Again, I think
international
we're gonna
champion. So,
continue on to
yeah,
our next thing here.
I was gonna say sorry. I'm rambling.
Yeah. Um, Griff Garrison, who we haven't seen on AEW in a while,
Well, we
came
just
in.
recently talked about
Well,
him on
yes,
Ring of
on
Honor,
Ring of
but
Honor, but
yeah,
we haven't seen him in AEW television in a
until
while.
today, and then
Until
he
and then who does he face off against? Well, a returning
and got
Wardlow
squashed by him.
who
Yeah,
seems to have a new gimmick. Looks like he's apparently the lone wolf. No, I think that's what he's kind of going as.
I mean, yeah, he may have a new gimmick, but he's still got the same damn moveset.
But he goes out there, gives Griff Garrison like 4 or 5 power bombs. Power Bomb Symphony is the worst idea
Yeah,
that AEW has
yeah.
had for a wrestler ever. I
Not to
think he needs to
mention,
go back to what he
yeah,
has had before.
yeah,
Apparently on his wrist tape he had something about MJF. He is looking to go after the
yeah.
World Heavyweight Championship. By the way, bad idea.
I agree.
I don't think he deserves it.
No,
Maybe back in a day, yes.
yeah. I
Before
was
the
gonna say
whole Powerbomb Symphony thing.
when he was being booked as like this unstoppable force that was under MJF's control, maybe like yeah, then he would have deserved to go after the world title. Nowadays, ever since they limited his moveset and gave him this Powerbomb Symphony, no.
Right.
Like just absolutely no.
Yeah.
Don't have him go after the world title because not for nothing, his 3 TNT title reigns were all just mediocre.
Right.
And it's sad too because especially for his first reign, it definitely like he had his big moment and then that was it. It's like, oh well, we gave this to Wardlow, like he has the TNT championship, now what? It's
Yeah.
like you could have easily
All right.
booked that many more matches for him, but they didn't.
Well, with Wardlow itself, I mean, it's grateful that I mean, it's cool that he's back, but again, I don't know if I would have wasted the Dynamite match here.
I just hope they book him better. That's all I ask.
mean, I'm hoping so too, but personally, the only way that you can possibly make Wardlow look better is probably on Ring of Honor than AEW.
Even that I don't know about.
But again, we're gonna go on. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, they have been workhorses
Oh
this
yeah,
whole entire week, putting those World Trios tag team titles on
Yeah.
the line. The first trio that they put them on against in this past week was the Butcher, the Blade, and Kip Sabian.
which
Yes.
is a rather interesting trio if you think about
It
it.
is, but I'm grateful that they're getting opportunities to go against trios that you wouldn't personally see on AEW as much. And honestly, I'm grateful that they claim a Daddy Ass have been great trios tag team champions. And ultimately, they did beat the Butcher and the Blade and Kip Sabian to retain. But man, I mean, they've been workhorses. They've held those titles. Ultimately, I'm hoping all in all, it does lead to them facing off against maybe the Blackpool Combat Club, because I get it, Bryan Danielson is busy, but if there's any match that you can probably book for Wrestle Dream, I would like for the BCC to possibly, and I'm not saying I would like to, not
Wrestle Dream already has.
yeah, Full Gear. I mean, I wouldn't want to see Acclaimed Daddy Ass possibly lose those titles, but the BCC, it'd be cool for Bryan Danielson to hold at least one more championship before he.
Yeah, but it's got to be the world title for Danielson. He shouldn't be relegated to like a tag team or a
I get
trio.
it, and I would like to see him possibly hold the world championship one more time. Um, before he does retire. Sorry everyone, we're just gonna have to pause this for a quick sec. We'll be coming back soon. Sorry everyone, we are back. Again, like I said, the acclaimed have been workhorses. I mean, there's a lot of trios out there that they could face off against. I'm grateful that maybe they can get after some other like unlikely trios itself. Like
I
the
mean,
mogul embassy, I think could be one that could like show up and be there.
yeah.
Um,
What have they been doing ever since losing those Ring of Honor six-man tag team titles?
Not really
Like,
much. I know that Swerve has been busy. He's going to be facing off against
I
Bryan
mean,
Danielson for a
yeah,
chance to be.
but I'm
I
talking
would
about.
assume that possibly it's going to be Swerve that beats Bryan Danielson, gets that opportunity and on Collision to face for the TNT Championship,
Oh,
and
the
then of
face
course
Christian.
will lose to Christian Cage
Well,
because again I would love, please, for the life of God, please book it because I like the way that they're going with Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. If you want Adam Copeland's first rivalry, it should be Christian Cage for the TNT Championship in Kia Forum, Los Angeles, California for Full Gear. I'm all for it. Of course, Adam Copeland will face off against Luchasaurus. Um, Probably beating him. I can't see why he would lose his first match on AEW. I mean, he's this phenomenal wrestler for 25 years in WWE. Now he's gone to AEW, and of course we'll talk about his couple promos on Dynamite and Collision. We'll try to keep it as low profile as it comes when it comes to that promo itself, because there were some bad words thrown around, especially the F bomb.
yeah.
You can go ahead and watch it on AEW's YouTube page if you want to watch the unedited version of that said promo. But we're gonna go on. I think we're gonna call this episode something about Bullet Club want some gold because
Well, why would you not talk about the other thing,
what?
tag team title thing?
Well, what tag team titles? The
The tag team titles.
about the new tag
From
champs.
Collision.
I mean, we
Yeah.
can, but I think the bigger picture is probably Bullet Club Gold, because we'll talk about it next here as Bullet Club come out to talk next. Talk about MJF and say the best thing he came up with is tofu. Claimed he jumped Jay White because he was scared, and then they call out MJF to explain himself and bring out his devil costume. It says if he is a man, he will come out there. Then out comes MJF to say he has arrived. Says we got the ass boys and talentless taint. It says he is and the fans start saying talentless ass boys, talentless taint, and then um and then Juice Robinson's like, I got a heart taint.
Yeah.
And then says he's magic and will list off the bad things he's done. He's honest and open and says he's their scumbag. And says he knows he didn't attack their boy Jay White, aka Tofu, and says he has been hanging around Stockton and wants to have a street fight. And then Jay White gives MJF the Blade Runner and holds up the Triple B, leaving with a belt as MJF lies in the ring. And then Jay White wants to face off against MJF at Full Gear November 18th at the Kia Forum. Thoughts?
It's been made official.
Thoughts on that one?
But also,
I'm just gonna say this now. It's been It's gonna be.
Yeah, it'll be a year.
It'll be a year since he's beaten Moxley for the AEW Women World Championship, and almost the same. I think the same place in the Kia Forum, and
was it in the Kia Forum last
maybe
year?
not. it was Full Gear. He beat John Moxley,
Yeah.
who was the champion. Of course, everybody knows what happened, why he was the champion in the first place because of the whole CM Punk problem and
Yeah.
getting that taken away from him. And then there was a
Yeah.
tournament in Buffalo. By the way, we were there when they announced that tournament.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then Moxley ended up winning the tournament,
Yep.
winning the championship,
Yep.
and then defending it against MJF at November of that year, of last year,
Mhm.
and then of course lost, and then and then MJF has held it for almost a year. And I hate to say it, as much as I would like to see him hold it longer than a year, I think this is Jay White's time because, man, did he look good with that title around his shoulder. It's
Yeah.
the Jay White era. It's a Switchblade era. It's the Bullet Club Gold era, baby.
Guns up,
Yes.
baby. Yes.
I think it's Jay White's time to win the AEW World Championship at Full Gear. And what better person to hold that championship than Jay White?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting if Jay White does win the title, who his first competitor will be afterwards. I think there's a lot of guys that'll be gunning for Jay White. But again, I think it's going to be, who knows? It could be Adam Cole. Adam Cole could come back and then feud. Not saying that he'll win it from Jay White then, but I'm very interested to see who is going to be possibly, But I think it's Jay White's time to have to win it here.
Well, I mean, we're also forgetting about, like, once Adam Cole comes back, after MJF has already lost the Triple B, after he is, after Adam Cole.
I
Because
think
we forget that MJF is still
ROH.
one half of the ROH Tag Team Champions alongside Adam Cole.
I will say this
I
now.
look at it this way also. I just thought about this. What if, like, the next time that MJF defends the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles on his own, he loses them? And then it forces Adam Cole to come back and, like, reunite with MJF and be like, "Hey, buddy, how's our tag team championships? Going?" And then MJF just looks at him and be like,
We
yeah,
lost
about that, like,
and then
yeah,
I think there's going to be a rivalry that's going to go on between them.
but
no titles.
Also,
they're going to have a rivalry whenever Adam Cole does come back.
We gotta think about it this way too, is because of the whole, like, storyline aspect. Even though we already know he resigned.
Or
What?
who's to say that he doesn't come back? They still have him. They face off against a tag team and lose them, and then that's when we finally get the turn.
Well, yeah, that, like, okay, so
that
what
makes
I was
more
thinking
sense.
what I was thinking also is they get to their next title defense at, like, say, possibly, depending on how long it takes for his surgery, everything like that to go. Who's to say MJF and Adam Cole defend it at, like, Supercard of Honor or something like that, and then next thing you know, during the match, tensions boil. They're not, like, they're like, doing the whole thing, and then next thing you know, it's like,
I just thought about
this. Next thing you know, they signal for the double clothesline.
No, let me talk here. I hate to say it, because I have a great scheme that I think Tony Khan should really jump on top of. What if they lose them to the Kingdom and sets up that whole rivalry?
Because that makes sense. But, like, so what would happen with that is, like,
and then Adam Cole turns on MJF, joins up with Roderick Strong in the Kingdom, and reunites the Kingdom.
But so basically,
that
what would happen with that is, like, they set up for the double clothesline. Next thing you know, MJF is in the ring, or like they do the Irish whip to set up for it or whatever. Next thing you know, Adam, like, while MJF's back is turned, so they hit the double clothesline. Next thing you know, MJF is like celebrating over there with like the people and
Because
everything,
again, this is the
and Adam
perfect
Cole just super kicks him, and he's
because
like,
if you saw on here, I didn't put it in the notes, but it was talked about on that Dynamite. Adam Cole went over to Roderick
yeah,
Strong's house,
yeah,
helped him move furniture, and then
with a broken ankle, by the way.
after everything that happened, MJF was in the back. Max Caster was rubbing his things.
Was being a
tried to call
stalker.
Adam Cole saying I can't do this alone anymore, and went straight to voicemail.
Yeah.
So there are definitely already tensions flying that Adam Cole is back and caring more about Roderick Strong than MJF. So
it
makes
fair,
the most
both
sense.
Men are, at least Adam Cole is, but I should say both men are quote unquote injured. So,
Adam Cole,
neck health. And
Adam Cole is definitely showcasing that he might want to
the only man with wheels.
Might want to go back and turn heel on MJF. Again, MJF is definitely showing a face side to him, but Adam Cole, I think, is the right time once he comes back fully healthy. Because what if he blames MJF? He's like, you're the reason why I got hurt in the first place, Max. I jumped off the stage to protect you, and look where it got me.
Yeah. It could be a whole, either way, there's a lot
I think there's a lot of layers to it. I think there's a lot of direction to go, and I'm ready for it. I am ready for it because Adam Cole coming back with a kingdom makes all the most sense. The turn on MJF, and then you got the kingdom as a faction in AEW.
Not for nothing, with all due respect to Adam Cole,
and then you're going to see Roderick Strong take the thing on. He's like, I was never hurt in the first place.
Yeah, but so...
This is all a ruse to get Adam Cole on my side. But then again, what if that also turns Adam Cole off? Again, I don't want to talk too much into it.
Who's to, and so back to what I was about to say, with all due respect to Adam Cole, he fits better in a faction.
Yeah, he does. And then you'll have Roderick Strong again, and who's to say that Kyle O'Reilly wasn't?
I don't know.
We'll have to know.
Yeah.
Who was behind that mask? Because can you imagine if somehow they, I'm very curious of seeing who it was, but it's definitely got to be somebody that we're not expecting.
Can't be Bobby Fish. I mean, folks. Where's the lie?
I know, true. But we'll have to find out. I'm sure that they're going to explain who exactly it was. They're going to show up once in a while. We still don't know.
But we've spent too much time on this.
Yeah, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, they've been teaming up as of late. And it was originally going to be Sammy Guevara and Konosuke Takeshita, but Sammy Guevara was unable to wrestle. So they got
injured right now.
Kyle Fletcher to take his place, the 24-year-old sensation.
Well, I mean, he's also kind of in a bit of a rut too because his partner Mark Davis went down
injured.
With another.
Yeah, there was a lot of injuries, unfortunately, with Wrestle Dream, and it's kind of sad.
Which I hate to be that guy, but maybe it's saying something that strong style, tone it down.
Yeah.
But I get it for the spirit of Inoki, I get it, but just
unfortunately the pairing of Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita wasn't enough to beat Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. But surprisingly, Powerhouse
you know what? Why don't we talk about that?
Powerhouse Hobbs is out and beats down Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho after the match. Could he be the next recruit for the Don Callis family?
I think it's safe to say,
man. Don Callis has been recruiting a lot of people, and that is going to be one hell of a faction, man.
I got it. That's the title. That's the thumbnail for our video. The Book of Hobbs, or the Don Callis family, is the next chapter in the Book of Hobbs.
Okay. Sure enough. So Samoa Joe was showing up, and he says that it's not out of the question for he wants another shot at the AEW World Championship. Thoughts? Well, probably after Jay White beats MJF, I can't see why Samoa Joe maybe couldn't be the first opponent for Jay White. I mean, Jay White and Samoa Joe, I think that would be a hell of a battle. The battle of the Uranagis. I mean, shoot.
Well, I mean, I just look at it this way: is like, you know, give it some time before Samoa Joe decides to go after the world title again.
Yeah.
Because, like, in a way, I feel like you'd have to build Joe back up. I mean, granted, you wouldn't have to do much of that, but at the same time, it's like after having such a humiliating loss to MJF, like you kind of have to, build him back up as like this monster heel,
Right.
and like challenge for the world title. And hopefully this time they would actually have him win. But at the same time, it's like, we're not ready. Like, Joe's not ready for that yet.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm very curious to see what.
I don't think it won't happen. I'm just saying, like,
There wasn't. I guess this next match, there's not really a whole lot to say. Yes,
I mean,
Toni Storm does have a new gimmick. It's timeless.
Yeah, timeless. She is timeless.
She went out there and was doing what every man would love to do. I'm not gonna go into details of it, but she was grabbing Sky Blue's ass, which I'm sure made a lot of men like, "Dang it, why can't that be me?"
It should have been me.
But does beat Sky Blue. Poor Sky Blue. She had so much potential.
Not only was there the ass grab, but there was also the titty slap.
Yeah.
So, and it was funny too because in both of her matches on Collision and Dynamite, she ended up looking at the camera before the commercial break, and she was like, "We'll be right back with a word from our sponsor."
I didn't realize this was actually the main event of Dynamite. I didn't realize
the main event match.
Yeah, main event match. But
the main event segment
was Adam Copeland comes out next to speak and has never heard his real name being chanted by the crowd. By the way,
Adam.
Says back in 2011 was told he would never do this again, but in 2023 he's standing in an AEW ring. Kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. Dude, I remember
made his return in like what 2020 Royal Rumble, I think.
Yeah.
It
was the 2020
before the
Rumble.
Pandemic, by the way, which is crazy to think about. That he came back in front of
a full capacity crowd.
Yeah.
Back before they
quite
knew
a few
what
reasons
would happen in a few months.
We
won't get into
quite
that.
a few reasons why he came here and says, "I don't know about you, but the AEW World Championship would look really good around his waist." Let's not be jumping the gun
there, Adam.
But I mean, he is full time in AEW.
Well, yeah.
So there's a whole roster of first time matches for Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland versus Jon Moxley.
Not yet.
Adam Copeland versus Kenny Omega.
Sign me up.
Against Miro. Against Powerhouse Hobbs. Against Jay White.
Sign me up.
Which could happen if Jay White does win a world championship. Just saying.
True.
Against Juice Robinson.
We'll see.
All amazing matches to challenge himself after 31 years in the business. And the main reason he came here is so you can have fun with Uncle Jay Christian Cage, but did ask his girls, and that's what his one daughter told him,
Ruby.
even though retirement was up there.
No, it was Lyric.
Yeah, Lyric.
Yeah. Lyric is the older
calls
one,
out
Ruby
Christian Cage so he can tell him the real reason why he's here. And then out comes Christian Cage, and Adam Copeland still loves his best friend of 40 years, even after being the way he is. We know what he called him.
Father of the Year.
We know what he called him, but we're not going to say it.
Yeah.
And that's never going away, and standing over Sting. Sting, who's been the icon for over 4 decades. He even
went to a barber and you had a poster of. You had his poster. You went to the barber and asked to get your hair cut like that.
Well, he was Sting, and Adam Copeland was Lex Luger, I think is what he said. And his wife's parents loved Sting and can't speak English. As they're, and knows that Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne will drop Christian Cage once they sucked all
Like
the
a
info
bad
out
habit.
of Christian Cage's head. He's so egotistical and won't see it, but it's time for Adam Copeland and Christian Cage to team up again after 20 years and face all of the best tag teams and show why they are the better tag teams of all time. Let's show them what we can do and end our careers together. And then Christian Cage wants the microphone, and then they hug it out, and then tells Adam Copeland to go F yourself. Leaves while the fans chant asshole.
Go yourself.
And before he goes, he sends down Luchasaurus to show what he's going up against. Thoughts on that one?
Well, it didn't prove to be much for Adam Copeland because he speared both of them.
Yeah, I really do think that Adam Copeland is going to get the win against Luchasaurus. Then he's probably going to go up against Nick Wayne. And then probably it's going to lead into eventually going after Christian Cage for the championship.
Possibly.
So, I mean, you take out Luchasaurus, you take out Nick Wayne. I would think that Christian Cage has got to be the last one that you go up against. Eventually.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it does lead into Full Gear at in the Kia Forum. Hopefully it's not going to be beforehand. So we're going to get on to the Collision side of things. Yes, FTR got a little banged up in the match against Aussie Open.
Dude, I saw the bump that Cash Wheeler took through the announce table. That was nasty. Because he basically bounced twice. First on the table itself, and then the table actually the table initially didn't have any give, but then
they showed
folded, but then
when he possibly
so basically Cash Wheeler did one of these. So it wasn't a good landing.
In that match at Wrestle Dream, they did showcase when he possibly actually fractured his rib.
Fractured his rib?
Yes, he fractured his rib.
Yeah, he's gonna be out for a while.
And they showed when it could have happened.
Plus,
it was during the time when they held him up and bashed
with Mark
bashed both
Davidson,
FTR and against each other, and that's when
that can fracture
Cash
a rib.
Wheeler.
Well, to be fair, also Dax was dealing with his left shoulder.
It's safe to say that the reason why Ricky Starks and Big Bill beat FTR to win the AEW World Tag Team Championships.
Technically four choke slams is what it took. Because they were going back and forth. Like Ricky Starks had some offense in the beginning, and then tagged into Big Bill. Big Bill starts getting in some offense, and then you hit the choke slam. He was gonna go for the pin. Ricky Starks is like, no, one more time. So it's like, okay, one more time.
But
another choke slam. No. One more time. Another choke slam, and he's like, one more time. To which Big Bill is like, all right, let's do it. One more time. Punch you in the face. Tag in Ricky Starks. Off the ropes. Meanwhile, Big Bill's got him in a choke slam. Off the ropes. Spear. 1, 2, 3. Ricky Starks and Big Bill, your new tag team champions.
Yeah, technically this is Big Bill's.
Also, Big Bill's first ever in his entire career championship that he's ever won.
That's crazy.
Never won one in WWE. Never won one in the Indies. Never won one in Impact Wrestling. First one. And it's in
congratulations to Big Bill, but just know that if it wasn't for FTR being hurt, you probably wouldn't even be the tag team champions right now.
Yeah.
And they have to know that they are probably going to be transitional champions, as they're probably going to lose into the Young Bucks, and it sucks. But you had to know that Tony Khan had to pull an audible and give them the win, because FTR is going to be on a shelf with injuries as they're healing them. But last time they healed injuries, they came back stronger than ever and then won those titles back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could happen again, but you have to know that probably the Young Bucks are going to face off against Big Bill and Ricky Starks at Full Gear. And by the way, they're back. They're home state of California, by the way, because they're from Rancho
Yeah,
Cucamonga,
Rancho
California.
Cucamonga.
And it's
Yeah.
going to be in Los Angeles.
Yep.
So what better
California.
way to going into Full Gear and beating the tag team champions, and once again, and this time being not one, not two, but three-time AW tag team
I was gonna say
champions.
I think that would
But
I was about to say I think that would be the
just
first like
know,
3-time
just
champion in
know,
AEW. No,
it sucks to
no
have to
doubt
see
about.
FTR and Young Bucks possibly again, but you have to know once FTR is
Yeah.
strong, is fully healthy, that they're going to get an opportunity to win those tag team titles back.
Well, I think what it was is because like there was that whole beef between FTR and Young. I don't know why they even really have beef to begin with, especially after everything. Like I can understand the initial beef because like they were going on BTE and like the whole FTR, which actually like the actual meaning of FTR, and then
Yeah,
so I can understand the initial beef, but after everything like that happened, and after what's the beef? So
right. Um, so Brian Danielson and Kyle Fletcher do face
yeah,
off against each other. Um, Brian Danielson is just having a list of great opponents. He showed his technical
yeah,
prowess in that match,
he is the best technical wrestler in the world now. He proved it
but
against
man, again,
Zack Sabre Jr. at Wrestle
beats
Dream.
beats young Kyle Fletcher.
With Zack Sabre Jr.'s own pin, by the way.
I think they're gonna wrestle again.
Oh,
I'm just gonna say this now because they're already teasing it.
yeah.
Even on that Dynamite, Zack Sabre Jr. was was saying his stuff, and so is Brian
Oh,
Danielson. So
yeah.
I think that they're gonna face off against each other one last time. Um, it just sucks that this is his last year because I would say like it'd be cool to see them wrestle on um, and Forbidden Door because it's NJBW and AEW combined show, and what better way to having them? What
Dude, I
that'd
tell
be
you
pretty
what.
cool if Brian Danielson was to hand the torch to Zack Sabre Jr. Be like, now you're the best technical wrestler, and
Well, I
having Zack
mean,
Sabre
like,
Jr. beat
technically, he's
Brian
always
Danielson.
had. Technically, Zack Sabre Jr. has always had that title, but it was never, like, official,
But
quote
it'd
unquote,
be cool to
until,
be officially calling him the best
Oh, yeah,
technical
like
wrestler
an
and beating
actual
Brian.
passing of the torch
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, it would be cool. And let me tell you something. I hope
but again,
and
that's next
pray.
year, and this is
Yeah.
technically Brian Danielson's, and he already
Well,
announced that it's his last
yeah.
year.
So you said it yourself, Forbidden Door. I
But
would love to go
I would
again.
like at least one time where like he can get permission from his wife and and daughter, even though he told her that this would be his last year. I would like at least it can be his last year, but I would like at least one last match. You got to have Zack Sabre Jr. and Brian Danielson too, where Brian Danielson actually loses to Zack Sabre Jr. and passes
Have it
the
be his retirement match.
hold his arm, passes the torch
Yeah.
to him, and then retires that way.
I was
I would
just
like
saying,
for that
have
to
Zack
be
Sabre Jr. be Brian
because
Danielson's retirement
if you
match.
want, because you're already teasing like another match, so why not?
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna do it in Japan, which could be
Didn't
possible
even think
too,
about that.
because he always
But
he
I don't
wanted to
know
go.
that that's
He
the
wanted to.
best.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know if that's a safe
but
option for
again,
Brian Danielson.
but then okay, to continue this, out comes the Gates of Agony to beat up Danielson after the match, and then Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta come to save Danielson, and then Prince Nana saves them, which is kind of leading into the whole Danielson and Swerve Strickland match. As much as I would love to see Danielson winning this match, it would make more sense if it's Swerve Strickland. But then seeing Swerve Strickland again, it just sucks because whoever wins here, it would suck for them to lose to Christian Cage. It
Well,
really would.
yeah. I mean,
I
but
do.
I feel like Swerve could benefit more from losing to Christian than Brian Danielson. Because,
Yeah,
not for
maybe.
nothing, you want to build up his last year by giving him as many wins as possible. because you don't want to make Brian look weak in his final year.
Right. True.
So
So Ricky Starks.
at least as a full-time wrestler, his last year,
Right.
or even actually, it's very cryptic now that you think about it, because he said like, oh, it's his last year, like, so last year just being a wrestler in general or being full-time, because I thought the whole thing was like, oh yeah, this is my last, like, run around being a full-time. I'm still gonna do like part-time stuff. It's like, now you're saying like, oh, it's my last year like as a wrestler. So it's like,
Right. Um,
we need more context,
yeah, we
Brian.
do. So Ricky Starks say they are the new top dogs and want some respect, that everyone will be gunning for them. Thoughts? Yeah, no crap. They're going to be gunning for you. You're the new tag team champs. Um, I would like to see them maybe like putting them on the line every collision, kind of like what FTR was doing. Um, but ultimately, you have to know that the Young Bucks are going to be the ones that are going to get that match. It's funny because they won that match to be crowned number one contenders. So again, I want to know when Young Bucks are going to come out and like say like, oh yeah, we want to face you. We're going to face you guys at Full Gear, because I would assume that's what's going to happen. They're going to face off at Full Gear, because they never stated like when this match is going to happen for the tag team championships. I would think that you give them a little run being the tag champs for like maybe like a month or so, which is gonna suck because, have them chance for a short amount of time and then have them
Mm,
lose into the Young Bucks. But again, you have to know that they're just kind of temporary champs until
yeah,
the Young Bucks are like the
yeah,
main champs until FTR comes back. I would assume that's the plan. To me, that makes the most sense.
maybe.
I
I
mean,
mean,
because you then one, it sets up another match at Full Gear.
yeah.
Two, it's the Young Bucks' home state. So again, you get a win there. You
I
can't
was
have
gonna say they
the
wouldn't
Young
lose.
Bucks lose in
Yeah.
California, even though Nick did lose in Stockton against Ray Phoenix. But hey,
Well, not to mention, I don't know necessarily that they would use it, but they do have like EVP pull. Who's to say they wouldn't, like, But I don't think like the Young Bucks are the kind to, like,
right.
politic into certain things. I mean, they might, but
So we got into our next match here is we have a trios match in Bullet Club Gold
yes,
facing off against
the
Here's the
Luchas,
sauce. And
Angelico,
Helico, Gravity,
Gravity,
and
and
Metalik.
Metalik.
Man, we got to see some cool stuff. We got to see some beating up from Juice Robinson. Then tags in the Austin gun and
Oh
then
yeah,
starts beating him up, does his whole move and beats him
they
up.
were all doing like
Then Colton
the
Gunn
three
comes off,
jabs.
tries to pick
Yeah,
him up, Gravity falls down. Picks him
yep.
up, Gravity falls down. Tries to pick him up and then
Gravity rolls
roll
them
up.
up. Yeah.
1-2 kick out. But then ultimately, Bullet Club Gold does get the victory against them. And then Jay White announces a world title eliminator match, which is funny because you're not even the world champion. You're just holding on to the belt hostage right now. But yes, so we are going to get Jay White against Hannah Hangman Page.
Yep.
Um, probably going on maybe right now or close to being able to go on soon. But I want to say Jay White's going to get the victory here, but MJF's going to definitely show up and cause stir and get his Triple B back.
Well, the thing is, though, the Triple B, at least when Jay White is holding it, it stands for the Bang Bang Belt
Yes.
for the Bang Bang Gang. But if uh, MJF is holding it, it's the Big Burberry Belt.
But we get on to, yeah, again, Daddy Ass and Acclaim
Yes.
playing a World Trios Tag Team titles on the line against the Iron Savages. See, I'm confused. Is it all three of them the
All three of them are the Iron Savages.
Savages?
Yes.
Well, Jack Jameson, man, he is
Yeah,
jacked, all right.
it ain't just a gimmick, brother. He's jacked.
But hey, man, Something in that drink. Telling you.
Yeah, something's in that savage sauce.
Savage sauce.
I don't know what it is, but it makes everybody just want
I
to
bet
go.
you there's nothing. I bet you there's nothing in it at all. I bet you it's an empty thing.
I can confirm it is an empty
I was gonna say
shaker
it's
bottle.
gotta be.
Yes, I saw it when I was watching Ring of Honor with them, like because Bronson took a swig of the savage sauce. I'm like, there's nothing in there. Like,
But
what
again,
are you drinking?
yeah, Arden Savages and Jack Jameson did look pretty good, but Daddy Ass and Acclaim retained the World Trios Tag Team
As
titles.
if there was any doubt that they wouldn't.
Timeless Tony Storm and Kiera Hogan.
It was much of the same thing from
Tony Storm tried to give a script to Kiera Hogan. I don't know exactly what it was.
No, you know what it was? It was to signify a Hogan going off script, because like there was I think there was a few times in like WCW or something like that where Hulk Hogan would like go off script, or like no, it was I think it was Bash at the Beach 2000 where Hogan went off script and started cutting a promo, and he's like, "This is why this company is the way it is because of BS like this." And so Kiera Hogan was like, "Oh, you want me to follow this? You want me to follow this?" Like, "Oh yeah, okay, I got you. I'll do that." I'm not doing that.
Throws it and then
throws it at her face, rips it up. Tony Storm's, "How dare you!"
And it starts beating her up. And then Kiera Hogan was slapping her ass for whatever reason in that match. And then Tony Storm was slapping hers and biting it. And then it's kind of funny because towards the beginning of the match, you hear a fan is like, "Titty slap!"
Yeah.
And then during the commercial, then the picture-in-picture, well, we got a titty slap. And Tony Storm started slapping them titties.
I look at it this way, man. As long as they, like, agree to it beforehand, it's fine. Just don't pull a Joey Ryan, okay? That's all I ask. Because you don't, like, and for those of you who know.
Alright, before we get into that, Timeless Tony Storm does beat Kiera Hogan. She's looking good, man. People are behind the gimmick. They're behind Tony Storm. I think it's a new thing for her. She's a little crazy, but for sure. It's a way to get her over with the fans.
And like, here's the thing: when a character works, like, it works, and like when a character is entertaining, then like, it's not always a bad thing to be entertaining in pro wrestling. It's not always a bad thing. But like, just don't go over the top with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Eddie Kingston faces off against Coleman Dare
for the main event match
title
for Collision.
And Eddie Kingston beats him with his back fist to the future and retains the ROH World Championship. And then we get another promo from Adam Copeland.
Yes.
The whole reason why Adam Copeland came to AEW in the first place is to team up with Christian Cage and ask the fans, do they want to see it? And they cheer. So they want to see it. It says he is here today through hard work, and so is Christian Cage. And just doesn't understand what happened and isn't the nicest guy in the world. And kind of is a dick.
And is a dick.
And then has been best friends for 40 years and says Nick Wayne is his Persian cat he pets on his lap, which I found hilarious. And says he would be smiling if they say that while he's out there, and wants to find out what's going on. And highly confused, and calls out Christian Cage, and we'll get his answer on Title Tuesday. And Adam Copeland beats down Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus, and as Adam Copeland goes for the spear, Luchasaurus chokeslams him in the middle of the ring and gives him a lariat to the back of the neck, and then brings the chair in the ring, and then out comes Darby Allin to hit Luchasaurus in the back. And then Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus beats down Darby and uses the chair to bash Darby's right arm. What does this mean going forward? Well, what it means going forward is that there's definitely a rivalry between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage.
Although this might just be the Teddy Long in me, but at some point, maybe next week on Collision, I sense a tag team match.
No. Next week on this week on Collision, it's gonna be Christian Cage against whoever wins between Bryan Danielson and.
Well, no. What I mean by that is like I sent the tag team match playa in which Darby Allin is going to team with Adam Copeland to take on Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne.
Oh, that could that's possible.
It's that inner Teddy Long in
I
me.
rather it.
I sent the
I
tag
rather
team
it
match
happen
playa.
on Collision than at Full Gear. To be truthfully
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah.
Yeah, I can
Full Gear,
definitely.
the bigger picture is Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland for the
Yeah,
TNT
I think
title.
so too. I definitely do see a tag team match happening between these two, but the bigger picture has to be Adam Copeland and Christian Cage for the TNT Championship, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great match in Full Gear. Yeah. This is going to conclude this episode of No Final Bell. Please make sure to follow us on social media, Tinkle Sports. Please also make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow. Hit the bell notification to get notified when our videos get uploaded, and that would be much appreciated. Of course, we have Sunday morning Tinkle every Sunday at 9 a.m. Out of Turn 4 typically is every Tuesday at 5. Sometimes he changes it, and this show is every Wednesday at 5. Again, we will catch you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.